we are coming to get our check.
Welcome, welcome. I am Dena, and this is Discussions with Dena. Views and reviews. This is part two of the conversation regarding black descendants of enslaved people in America receiving reparations. It is important for our black brothers and sisters who are immigrants who immigrated to this country to understand our plight and not hinder or try to hijack our movement or our quest for reparations here in America. You can be upset with an individual on any comments that they have made personally, but once again, if you are taking part in this reparation conversation simply because you have no other reason than to hinder us, I ask that you stand down. We don't deserve for you to put your input in to this conversation that may cause us any hindrance whatsoever. I have a problem with that mindset. We're seeking reparations, and it is not a divisive matter. It's simply that we are holding Caucasians accountable for not paying us what is owed in this country. Blacks in America will most certainly support you in your efforts if you decide to hold those people from the country that you immigrated from accountable. We will fight with you, and we will not go to those oppressors, relieving them of their obligation or hindering you in any way from receiving what it is that you are owed. We will support you and rally behind you, and we simply ask the same thing of you. It's simple. Support us in our efforts, or stand down and stop making the conversation for our reparations about you. Now, here is part two of the conversation regarding reparations for A.D.O.S and F.B.A. You can like, share, subscribe, and comment. This is part two.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing in October. We're actually going to Washington, D.C. this October. We got a big rally that we're planning right now, and we're going to put it all on the line. We need something specific for us. We're going to need a hate crime bill specific for us. We're going to need something done about this homeless problem, especially out here in places like California and other places that's affecting foundational black Americans. And we're going to put it on the line and let them know exactly what we need. We're going to have to get them to do something about all of these white supremacist groups within law enforcement, especially in Democrat-run cities. That's the problem. We're voting for all of these Democrats to come in, but all of these police killings with all of these crazy white supremacists working in law enforcement, these are done in primarily Democrat-run cities. So we can't keep voting for our own demise. So we're letting these people know we cannot keep supporting you, continue to support you if you're not doing anything as we keep voting and holding you up. I don't want to hear about a Green New Deal and some Flint water and all of that, because we're being gunned down and mowed down out here. We need our Democrats, especially them, because we've been supporting them for the last 60 years. We really need them to get busy and do what they need to do and do what they're supposed to do for their main voting bloc, which is us, foundational black Americans. But you guys are voting this cycle. So let me just a quick one, Steve. So you're going in October. You're going to meet with all 400 and some more Congress folks and those 100 senators. You're going to go up there and meet with them. Is it a wrap? You're going to meet with them and tell them basically, this is what we want. This is our platform. Well, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. If they want to meet up, that's fine, but we're still going to go up there. We're not going to book a formal meeting, but we're going to have the media out there, and we're going to have the grassroots mobilized out there in Washington, D.C., and get all eyes on the streets to let them know what the message is, because whenever we have protests out here, what the Democrats will do, they will send in controlled opposition, and they will exploit the deaths of black people. So when a black person gets killed, they will send some Democratic shills out there to talk about the death for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden they start talking about, well, black trans are dying too, and what about immigrants? And then it turns into something else. So we don't want any more controlled opposition. We don't want any more Democratic shills. We don't want right-wing shills, because I'm not a right-winger. I'm not down with the Republicans either. I'm nonpartisan. I'm all about tangibles for my people, foundational Black Americans, and in extension, our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, because I'm not dumping on them, but we have to prioritize foundational Black Americans. I don't believe anybody who's an immigrant should show any disrespect to a foundational Black American, because if it were not for us fighting to get them here, they would not be here. White people didn't want Black immigrants over here at no point. It was foundational Black Americans in the early 1900s and in 1965 and 64 really stomping the streets, getting their heads bashed in to get brothers and sisters from the diaspora to come over here to be reinforcements for us, because we wanted another Marcus Garvey and more Stokely Carmichaels over here. Unfortunately, the white supremacists got in front of it, and now what they do is send over the Candace Owens and all of the other Sambos that come and join the white supremacists against us. So that's what we also have a problem with. So we're just getting some straightening to figure out who's on team Black empowerment, who's going to support us, and who's going to reinforce us like we've reinforced and supported them.
By calling them tethers?
Yes, by calling them tethers, absolutely.
Hey, Tariq,
good luck with that strategy.
Well, hey, what are they going to do about it?
Well,
it ain't enough for y'all to stop it. So
okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's stay here.
Hey, Tariq, I have a question for you, because I think that, from a policy perspective, many of us can agree with some of the things that you're speaking of, right? The police violence and things that can be better in our communities. And this is our first time having a conversation. So I live here in Florida, and I am a Democratic Party strategist. Okay. So this cycle, I have my portfolio includes 68 candidates running across Florida for various seats, from school board to the governor's mansion, right? And including congressional candidates also. And our primary here in Florida is in August. So right now we are in what I call the messaging platform, right? We are going into media, Black media, on radio, Black radio, and putting up TV ads or negotiating those contracts. And from a data perspective, I'll share with you, a lot of the items in this conversation are not on the, top 10 reasons for people to get out and vote. And I think particularly it's because there are no conversations being had with the elected officials. Like, I applaud you guys for, organizing and planning to go to DC. I would also encourage you, as Luke was saying, to sit down and have these conversations.
See, this is an issue here. Because they are not on the agenda doesn't mean that they should not be on the agenda. This kind of rhetoric it messes up the mind of some people who are not clear on what voting is supposed to be. Just because they don't have it there doesn't mean it shouldn't be there, okay?
With the elected officials that represent you in your home communities and are going to be present in DC as well. The reason being is because a lot of these campaigns are built off of data. And a lot of that.
There we go with the data. The data. Who is giving this data? You have to question who is collecting it and for what purposes. The issue is not being spoken of because these are things that they have chosen that are important to them. But the people also have different agendas themselves. What people did you speak to specifically? Who did you call to get this data? What group specifically?
Data comes from grassroots messaging. And if we're not having the conversation with those that are in power to represent us, then, we're doing a lot of stuff for naught. And
I can't with her. We're gonna skip ahead.
To say, oh, I don't know about this, or this is not an issue, or as the young man was saying earlier, to, kind of be talked down to, like, oh, young man, go do some research or what have you. So when you're going to DC, I would just ask, because I have clients that, work in DC, have these meetings, have these conversations, because if nothing else, at least the dialogue puts it on their radar. And then as you're organizing in communities and the data starts to present, there is a movement behind these legislative issues.
Slavery was not a secret. These people act like this is something that just occurred. America was built on slavery. This is an issue. This has always been an issue. Reparations is not new. Reparations is something that has been talked about and has been warranted and is due. This is an issue that most people try to avoid. They know that it exists, and for them to imply that it is something that's under the table, this issue is always used. They find a way to a scapegoat, is what I'm saying, instead of dealing with it. This is not new. Black people are owed reparations. We have to make this important. We have to do the footwork that is necessary to get what it is that we are demanding. This is not new to these people. These people been aware of them owing us. It is not new. We are making all kind of excuses to let people off the hook. And for me, if you are not interested in helping to get reparations, stand down. Stand down.
I will say that these elected officials, they are fully aware of what we want, and they know exactly what we talk about. As you know, they have data research specialists that sit online and literally monitor the vibes and the moods and the language and some of the trends that go on with these conversations. They are fully aware of who we are. They are fully aware of what we want. And the name of the game for them is to continue the benign neglect policy by promising us nothing but still getting us to vote. When they had the Black Lives Matter thing popping off some years back, there was a memo that was leaked. WikiLeaks leaked that memo from the DNC, sending out talking points. And one of the talking points was, talk to some of the Black Lives Matter activists, but make sure to not promise anything. Just listen to them and let them speak, but do not promise anything tangible. Do not promise any type of money or any type of resource. So that's the game they like to play. They want to talk and have these little listening sessions. I don't want to have a listening session. I want to have a check writing session. I want my check. We need money. They didn't have a listening section with Asians. They start giving them money in tangibles. They're not having listening sessions with some of the Hispanic families that were caught on the border. They start giving them money. Out here in California, where I live, they're giving them all types of food, all types of financial resources, free medical resources that they don't give us. They're not talking about anything. They're just doing it. So this benign neglect policy, where we as Black people, if we have to get something, we got to just continue to spin our wheels and talk and sing and dance, that's over. They need to start writing them checks to us, or we will not vote for them, and we'll start a whole different political party if need be.
So I hear what you're saying.
You've been active in the reparations space for what, 5 years?
No, a decade. If you go back to some of my tweets going back a decade, I've been talking about it. You go pull up an interview I did on the Breakfast Club in 2016, I've been talking about reparations. I've been talking about reparations. I've been ahead of this thing a long time, brother. You go to my movies, the Hidden Colors films that I did decades ago, or a decade ago, we were talking about the solutions to reparations.
I object in regards to crimes, in regards to hate crimes. And I just read something recently that the person that did the Buffalo shooting was charged with a hate crime. Do you know what bill he was charged under?
What bill, sir, and why does it matter?
No, you said there wasn't a hate crime bill for Black people, and the guy that shot the Black people was charged with a hate crime. You know what bill he was charged under?
What bill was he charged under?
I think it was the James Byrd Jr. hate crimes bill that was like written to target.
Name the whole bill. Name the whole. No, don't you do that. Name that whole bill.
It's not just James Byrd Jr. and
Matthew Shepard.
Matthew Shepard bill. Yeah.
Right. Name the whole thing. The white LGBT dude.
But the James Bird was black that was dragged. Do we not care about black people that are
okay, stop it. They taxed on James Bird because they were really putting that bill together for the white LGBT community. But they knew that white LGBT people are not really aggrieved like that. So they had to attach a black person to it. And that bill doesn't really help us like that. This was a white man in Buffalo. That's not nothing to pop your collar about. The dude sat here and confessed to a murder that he did on film. I'm not popping my collar to some damn hate crime bill, and the dude basically confessed. Is that
so
what
you think hate crime bills actually stop people from doing hate crimes?
Are you that you're hanging your hat on a crime that was done on?
I'm just asking a question. Do you think hate crime bills actually stop people from doing crimes?
You don't.
Tariq, something.
I'm gonna drop down.
Mr. Tariq, do you see in the near future bringing all these groups together to support the black agenda? Everybody just gonna do their own thing?
Tariq, if you're talking.
My bad. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Well, I'm a foundational Black American by lineage, so whatever I do, I'm still going to be an F.B.A. If other groups want to support anything that foundational Black Americans are doing, they're welcome to do so. That's on them. We've always supported all of these other groups, and we're on our ancestral homeland that we built. So we're always going to look out for the best interests of Black people here. That's a given. But other groups, when they come over, are they going to be on our wave? Are they going to try to reinforce us, or are they going to try to get with the dominant society to work against us? So that's a question for people who are non-F.B.A.
Let me ask you: Do you have the numbers to? I mean, obviously, you said you're not going to meet with congressmen and women in the Senate, and you guys are going to do a rally. Do you have the numbers around the country to actually push the electorate to create a bill, to address all your tangibles?
Yeah, we have enough numbers to make a significant impact, just like we did in California. California, again, with the reparations task force, they were trying to do some trick bag stuff with the reparations task force, and we put our eyes on them, and we forced them to do the right thing as far as having the language correct, as far as giving the tangibles to our lineage and not just making it race-based. Because if you have race-based reparations, that opens the door to white Hispanics, to Asians, and all these other groups, and then it turns into affirmative action, which ultimately undermines foundational Black Americans because everybody else will be prioritized. So we are very, very specific about prioritizing our specific group for tangibles, especially when it pertains to the enslavement of our people. When we talk about reparations, a lot of people try to mix in, well, what about all the racism that other people had to face too? Our reparations claim is not a reparations claim against racism. We're talking about slavery. If we want to do a reparations claim, that can be done later. But we're talking about a specific act that was done to a specific group of people. And that is foundational Black Americans who were descendants of slaves. Now, other immigrant groups, they should support this because this will set a template for them to ultimately get their reparations from the British colonists, from the French that colonized many of the Caribbean islands, and the Spanish who colonized some of those Caribbean places too. So this will open the door and ultimately help them too. So they should support our reparations claim.
Let me ask you, with calling, and I'm guilty of it too. Now I call people some wild names myself, but we're calling these congressmen and women these names. You think that's gonna get them in the long run to create a bill and sponsor and co-sponsor and get it passed?
Now, when we're in these Twitter spaces, sometimes it will morph into a roast session, then everybody can get that work. But when we're sitting down having a real conversation about getting some real tangible policies done, we know how to code switch and get our decorum right and get our conversation together and talk like we got some sense. We know how to flip it when it needs to be flipped. Now, in some of these Twitter space rooms, sometimes it can get janky, sometimes it can get intellectual, sometimes it can turn into all-out roast sessions. Everybody can get burned, everybody can get touched. But we understand if we got some serious contenders who are in politics or somebody in a serious position and they want to have a serious conversation, we have no problem doing that.
Who's the spokesperson?
There is no spokesperson. There's several spokespersons. So anybody can be a spokesperson. We just want people who have a reputation within the community of looking out for the best interest of the community, and not people who want to just come in and get something for themselves.
So who's going to make that call?
When you and Roland gonna sit down and talk on one of these platforms?
Lord, yeah, boy. Now Roland, let's be very clear. Roland started on me first a while back because they blamed me for Hillary not getting elected in the midterms some years back, because they did some data research and they saw that a lot of people were following me and getting my advice to not vote for Hillary because Hillary and the Clintons have been horrible for black people. And Roland got on air just really going in on me. And the Democrats, they send their shields down to attack me all the time. They attacked me over some stuff with Kamala Harris when she was about to get elected. So,
hold on. Not to cut you off, but
yeah,
shit. If you, I mean, went against Hillary and everybody know you that powerful to not help her get elected, goddamn, well, they should all be shaking in the boots when you coming, right?
Yeah, hey, you know, a lot of them, again, they monitor what I do, and I've heard that some people who work for the DMC, they get little notes and memos about me all the time. They come in my rooms, and you know, they come and try to disrupt, so they know exactly who I am.
But that's why I'm just saying, you know, I can't tell you how to do what you do, but
right.
I think it would. I just think, I mean, if you sit down and have a meeting with the devils and whatever you want to call them, and you sit there and you say, look here, man, I need, y'all Congress, you got 2 years, I need you to, do what you do. Where's the check?
I feel
you know what I'm saying? Where's the check at now? If you don't get the check now, we gonna mine up against you. And now I can genuinely say it. I met with Congresswoman, man, XYZ, and we told them this what we need. And now they didn't do that. I'm going back to the community. Hey, look here, man, they gotta go. You feel me? And now at the end of the day, look, we sat down and met with them. Now they can't play like they didn't see the march, or they didn't play like they can see the rally, or they were on vacation and they're not aware of it. No, I sat here and met with you, and we talked about the agenda of our people and the reparation, and just no different than the LGBT. They went out there and they did their little thing with the protests. I understand that.
This is very different from LGBT.
All of congressmen and women, and say, look, we need our bill passed. Who down and who ain't? Because when we leave the office, don't give me the bullshit. Yeah, look here, you folk represent. Okay, good. I'm gonna mark you down and go right into the next office. I'm gonna mark you down and keep it moving. Yep. And then we're gonna go out there and rally, and we're gonna say we met with y'all. So now, now it's time for you to go. Because I would say that I'm pretty sure it'll be when you go back to the communities, even if the person ain't with you, they will, hey, look here, man, we met with this man here, and they bullshit us, and then now they got to go through those, better than I do. They have to go through those forums. Now we showing up at the forum. Hey, look, when it's time to speak in the audience, I met with you last year on reparation, and you ain't did shit. So I'm fucking with that's a person right here, and that's how they get not elected. That's just my opinion. That's what we do. That's how we do that. That's what we do down here.
And that's what I hope to do. Exactly. That's exactly what I hope to do. And hopefully we can get that done this year before the election. So we're going to look and see. But we got our sister Teslin in here. I would love to see Teslin. She's a political strategist, and she's in the speaker queue. So I want to kind of give the floor to some of the other brothers and sisters to get their voices out there. So I thank everybody for listening and keeping the conversation respectful. And much respect to everybody. Thank you, Brother Luke.
Thank you. I'm glad Stephen kept the conversation respectful. I'm proud of you, Stephen.
I mean, the man called me a tether, and by his definition, I'm a foundational Black American. So,
that's
what he did.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much, Tariq, for passing the microphone to me. I see a lot of familiar faces in the building, and shout out to you, Luke, for hosting this and, trying to keep things as cordial as possible. So my question is, I see a lot of questions directed at Tariq, and I get it. If you're not interested in what he does, if you think he's too extreme, if you says, well, it should be this or be that. But my question for you, Stephen, with 100 Black Men, did you, since there's a lot of questions about if he met with the local official, and I would love to chop it up with you, Nikki, about Florida, because it looks like you follow me on Twitter, and Florida is absolutely my stomping ground, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you about what Florida refuses to do for Black candidates, Black people in general, but we'll leave that to the side. But my question for Stephen is, did 100 Black Men at any time during this last 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, have called out anybody in power with the same energy that's being now directed at folks who are? Because what I'm hearing is Luke is saying, hey, if you don't like how stuff is moving, say, hey, you're going to either do X, Y, Z, whether it's reparations, whatever it is, or we're going to replace you, which is what Tariq is doing, even if you don't rock with that. So I'm looking at 1,200 people in this room. Has anybody taken the time to call out the administration with the same amount of energy, starting a room to say, let's talk about the policies that have not been delivered to Black people? Let's talk about Joe Biden volunteering a lie to the George Floyd family. And before anybody comment on that, let me run down the receipts. I'm Attorney Ben Crumps, Senior Public Policy Advisor. I was in the room when Joe Biden called that family. So before anybody grabbed the mic, the other brother that was going on and on with the stats, you definitely don't want to play the receipt game with me. I want to know, did 100 Black Men or any organization that you're involved with, sir, have you guys taken that same initiative? Because I know you just did a screening for civil, so you're well aware of what's happening with shooting down Black men. Has that same amount of energy and question and probing and desire to know and rooms set up on Twitter, has any of that been directed at Joe Biden or anybody else for that matter, on the state, on the local, or on the federal? That's my question for you, brother. Because period.
All right.
On the main stage though, not on the back end, not the back end meeting, on the main stage, kind of like how I do on Fox News.
I'm gonna answer that. You ready? That's right. So let me break it down to you like this: the 100 Black Men of South Florida and the 100 Black Men of America is the mentoring organization. Number one. Stop, brother. So here's what we're not going to do. You ask me a question, and I'm answering it. And you just asked me a question. So I'm going to answer your question. Our Black youth, specifically Black boys. Those Black boys come from America. They come from Haiti. They come from the Bahamas. They come from Jamaica. Right. They come from Ghana. They come from Nigeria. They come as they are because they will grow up to be Black men in America. They come as they are because they need to know that they are Black men in America and to unite as Black men in America. Our crowning achievement was having one of our mentees become the mayor of the city of Opalaka. Because and then becoming a mentor as well. Because that's what Black people have done for years and decades. They have not run around calling each other out their name and tried to disunify. So have I ever picked up your banner? No, sister. I personally think, and I've said it publicly, your organization is a hate group.
Steve, she asked you a question. Have you called out any organizations?
Called them out to do what? Called them out about
any governmental
what?
Entities.
Oh, wait. So she's asking me my resume as far as what I've done for the Black community locally and nationally?
Yeah.
No, she's not.
Have you called them out, Stephen?
She's asking me what have I done for her organization or
that's not what she said. She said, have you called them out, Stephen? Stop.
No.
Wait.
Steve.
Wait.
I just saw you on TV calling the mayor of Miami Beach out.
Of course I did. Wait. They don't want my resume. They can look my resume up on Google.
No. Tell them who you called out.
No, they don't care, Luke. I'm here trying to unite Black people. They worried about reparations, but they're going to delineate and hate on Black people. We're not the same. We don't have the same fight. Because while they up here planning with no leadership, some meetings with some Congress people, I've got to be the one down in Miami Beach lobbying and calling out all of the administration for their children who come visit. Because our kids, as you know, Luke, don't go. So no, I am not obligated to tell them what I've done for them, because I do everything for all of us, because it's us.
Go all night with this, but we're gonna try
you
to
put me on mute. You put me on mute, and that's not fair, Luke. Because
no, hold on. I didn't put you on mute. I'm asking you a question.
Okay, I just want to make the point to this, because Stephen's what he's doing called gaslight. You might want to look me up. I'm the best of the best when it comes to that. That's why I go to the Lions Den.
Your entire organization's built on it.
Can you mute Luke? Can you mute Stephen just one quick second, and then I'm gonna be out your way, sweetheart.
Go ahead, Steve. Let the young lady talk.
Yeah. First and foremost, sir, Stephen, I'm the best at this gaslighting and whataboutism. I debate all the people that make y'all shake in y'all boots. You might want to go look me up. I take them all on at Fox News. I asked you a very simple question. It had nothing to do with reparations, F.B.A., B.A.C., B.N.C., M.B.C., A.B.C., AB3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I asked you, Stephen, have you, as a person, or your organization, representing your organization, have you called out anybody publicly on the state, the local, or the federal level demanding things for Black people? And the answer is not, I mentor Black boys, because I do that too. The answer is not, I read books and I give them this and give them that. That's church work. I work with one of your best presidents ever in 100 Black Men. His name was Ron Rogers. Shout out to him. Rest in peace. He died just 2 or 3 years ago. I love 100 Black Men. We just featured the documentary there just a couple of weeks ago. I'm saying this so you can know my receipts are thorough. My question to you is, it would be a wonderful thing if you could sit across some leadership every now and then, the person that has the pen and the power to ask the same questions that you are asking tonight. That's all I'm saying. Take you and your 99 brothers, 99 problems, but ain't one, and go on up to Capitol Hill, the same way y'all recommending Tariq do, and go sit down with the leaders and tell them what you want, even if it ain't reparations. Tell them anything, goddammit. I'm just hoping and praying and begging that somebody can have a backbone to do something besides chastise our own people that's asking for something, even if you think it's wrong. Even if you think it's wrong. If you think the anti-hate bill ain't worth a damn, well, so what? They used to giving Black people shit that ain't about nothing, so why would you stand in the way? Well, then go ask for something that you think is about something. And right now, I don't see nobody out of the 1,200 people in this room that I see publicly calling out this administration or the local, the state, the federal, on any level.
Hold on.
Let me just shout out my sister, Teslin. Girl, you are in there handling business. I want to thank you for listening, and I invite you to subscribe and leave your comments on this topic. Like, share, and join me next time for a discussion with Dena. Let's keep this reparation movement going. I'll see you next time.